At Chris Kehler Holistic, we demonstrate real healing and real caring to your health issues and needs. Our solution for you is an alternative to the alternative. Our out-of-the-box treatment methods are aimed to your specific well-being and are quite different than most. Venturing down the realm of quantum energy healing, Chris uses unique modalities of healing, such as spiritual intervention with pendulum dowsing, sacred geometry tools such as the neutralization, divinity, and sun ring. Another tool Chris uses is a 5-tiered pyramid affectionately known as the Silver Light Pyramid to activate quantum activity within the body. Also, Chris Kehler Holistic uses radionic technologies in various platforms with specific liquid mineral ionics to balance out excesses and deficiencies within the body. At Chris Kehler Holistic, our goal is to get tangible and measurable results in the least amount of time possible so you can carry on with what's important in your life. Another advantage to this unique energy healing is that it can be done at a distance healing session. So location is not a barrier and can be done conveniently at your home, office, just about anywhere through Skype or telephone conferencing. Eliminate costly protocols, expensive monthly supplements, high-priced allopathic operations, invasive surgeries, and dubious medication applications that keep you trapped in a financial and health rat race. Get a specific, customized, out-of-the-box solution tailored for your health recovery. At Chris Kehler Holistic, we are warm welcoming and want to put you at ease with your visit to us. Please visit www.chriskehler.net for further information as we welcome your questions and inquiries to starting this unique journey. At Chris Kehler Holistic, we want to show you that we are the alternative to the alternative and the out-of-the-box solution to customize an answer for you to spend less and gain more in your high vibrancy journey. Visit www.chriskehler.net. Real healing and real caring to your health needs.
May I present to the world Mr. Chris Kehler.
Ow! Come on, say it with me now. Oh. Boy, did we have a moon. Now, we got a special show lined up. I did have Susan Smith-Jones lined up for an interview, but with the goings-on with the moon in the last few days with the TRIFECTA, there's actually only two things going on. The blue moon and full moon, that's the exact same. Supermoon and blue moon is the exact same thing. A lot of energies have moved. We got Holly here tonight with us.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Absolutely perfect. I might sound like I got a bit of a rasp and just getting over a one-day cold that I picked up yesterday, but I kicked that thing in the butt.
Nice.
We have a guest tonight, Alyson. Is Alyson around, Bob?
I do not see her. She dropped out.
Oh, my goodness. She's the reason why I canceled Susan Smithy Jones.
Well, I'm doing the best I can on another Skype and seeing if I can get it that way. I didn't know that the Skype address goes to a mobile home phone, it says. So all she has to do with a cell phone is turn. So I'll work on her, yeah.
All kinds of energy changes happened because of this phenomenon. What did you notice happen? And then I'll let you know what I found.
You know, it seems like the energies are ramping up, like more drastic on either side, like the bad's getting worse and the good's getting better. And is what I feel like this moon brought was just a huge opening of the bad wounds that need to come up for healing. That's what I'm noticing on the bad sector. People's stuff is just flying up for them to face head on. And then on the other side of things, on more of the conscious realm, it seems like there was this huge flood of just, at least for me, like this huge relief came in. It was like all of a sudden this huge weight had been lifted and like this door had been opened.
I'm going to tell you what I found on my end. Now, what I like about you and I working together, Holly, is that we kind of bring two different recipes to the same mix. And we look at things a little differently, which really puts a perspective on things. And that's what I noticed within most people who do work like ours, is that everybody's got their own variation on it as to what's happening. And that's reading the same book with different lines. So it's really cool that we can do that. What I found is that it was the rapture. And not the rapture of us good old humans, but the reptilian archon rapture came about. Now, our guest that we want to have on, Alyson Powell, she's one of my students, and this person has been very, very much attacked, so attacked since like 3 years old. All kinds of attacks, all kinds of things happening to her to lower her vibration, to try and distract her and everything. And what we found the other day, I was working with her, and we found that she is the gatekeeper for the rapture.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's why she's been getting beat up so badly, because of course none of these reptilians want to leave, or they want to leave fighting, so they've just been targeting her. Now, I had mentioned quite a few times in the past that there was somebody who got attacked by some kind of energy weapon and left this big burn on her back. That was Alyson. She was sleeping in her apartment, and all of a sudden, here comes this big pain in her back, and she looks in the mirror, and there's a huge superficial burns, and it was perfectly round, the size of a dinner plate. So she has been under what we would call attack for a long, long time. We couldn't find out about the gatekeeper until the time had come. Okay, only certain things can be divulged at their time. And, of course, you don't want to put that target on your back too early. So it was like 1 or 2 days before the event, and we found this out. It said gatekeeper, and then she kept on confirming it with her dowsing and so forth. So it was really, really interesting. Right now, Ty's shaking his head going, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It was really interesting. That came up. And then I talked with her yesterday, and she's sending me pictures of all of these entities leaving her body, like lights coming off of her body, leaving, all this stuff going through her. So indeed, the concept, this blue moon, red moon, supermoon thing was certainly a triangulation of events to create something specific to happen.
Right. Now, that's what I'm saying, like, I just read that about 500 sex abusers, child sex abusers across the United States have been arrested. Now, Trump did the State of the Union speech last night, and he broke down statistics of how many people died last year in the United States from opioids. He totally slammed big pharma. So that's what all this stuff is coming out. Like, it is the rapture, and everything's coming to the light. And all of a sudden, people cannot get away with anything, or these dark reptilian factions and these Satanists, they're just being exposed faster than they can keep up with.
And that's what I'm seeing too. And you can just watch the news and watch. I mean, things are getting called out. The whole concept of the sex abusers, people in Hollywood, people in the music industry, everybody's getting a finger pointed at them. For Trump to start bringing stuff like that forward means that there is, we've had many conversations and shows about disclosure. But again, as I said, disclosure of what? It sounds like there's a lot of disclosure of stuff going on behind the scenes, the concept of Bohemian Grove and
yes,
all things like that. Everything is there, okay? It's just a matter of humanity accepting it.
It's funny, I was talking to a good friend of mine earlier about that, and it's like, how much disclosure needs to happen? For me, it's internal. I've known so much of this for so long, but, are the masses going to actually wake up, or are they going to be left behind? At this point, I feel like I've been talking to some people till I'm blue in the face, and it's just, the message isn't getting through.
I have a client who's an Uber driver, and she says to me, you know what, Chris, everybody who gets in my car, I'm telling them about all this stuff. I'm telling them it's real. I'm telling them it's a problem. And they look at me like I'm weird. I says, you can't awaken people. They have to awaken themselves. They have to wait for the right time for it to happen in order for it to happen. So I think it's going to have to take a bombshell for people to say, hey, something's going on. Now, having said bombshell, my last show, I think I ranted a little bit about, doesn't anybody else notice that there were 2 false alarms about a missile being fired from wherever? Now, I'm watching the news this morning, the national news in Canada, the CBC, and on that little ticker on the bottom, it says the person who reported the missile being fired says it was real. They're saying that on the national news. They're putting a little blurb on it that it was real, that it was not a false alarm.
Yes, I've heard the same thing. Not in the United States. I've heard the same thing from other sources, that it got intercepted. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for 2 missiles, for 2 false alarms within a day or 2 of each other, why people aren't shaking their head, I haven't got a clue. It's one of those things like yeah, as you said, what's it going to take for people to wake up? Does the big mother spaceship have to come down and land in Transcona, Winnipeg, and say, take me to your leader and give me some fries with that? Or is it going to take something really bad to happen? I hope it's not the latter, that's for sure.
You know, I do too, but unfortunately, every time there's a major tragedy, that's when people come together, and it's like, why does it take that? How come we can't just shift without a tragedy?
Absolutely right. It was a death in the family. People who haven't talked to one another for a long time maybe get together. When there's some kind of tragedy, people tend to come together. So hopefully you're wrong, but if that's what it's going to take, then so be it, as long as people can accept the fact that there is something going on.
Right. And I think, well, you know, it's interesting. I think a lot of people, they're just in denial. It's too overwhelming. It's just too overwhelming. And then we've got this myriad of distractions with the artificial intelligence. You know, it's such a distraction, and it's such this stealth takeover that, I could go on and on and on about that.
Well, there's tons of stuff on the internet. If you want to know anything about this movement, you have to view it on the internet. How much stuff do you see that do you think is horse hockey?
You know, there's a lot of new groups popping up that I think are questionable. I think a lot of it has a lot of misinformation in it, and that is exactly by design. We all know that you tell most of the truth, and then you put in some disinformation. And I think people are so misled at this point that they don't even know how to get back on the right track. There is so much fake stuff out there. It's crazy. And then is what cracks me up is all these people just jumped on the bandwagon about fake news because they heard about it off CNN last year. And it's like, are you guys kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've known about this forever, but it all boils down, because this is all 3-dimensional stuff that we're talking about. It all boils down to how centered and how clear are we that we can actually trust our intuition and our gut instinct. And with people that I've been working with lately, that's what it is. It's stripping back the layers so they can see their truth. They can make their empowered decision off intuition and gut.
Here's an example. My beautiful, lovely wife, you wouldn't believe, had kids with me. We've gone through all kinds of stuff. She believes in what I do wholeheartedly. She supports it. She says, this is what you do. You've helped me many, many times with different things. But this UFO thing, Chris, I'm not going to believe it until I see it myself. So that tells you right there that the mindset of people who haven't had the experience aren't going to wake up until they see it.
Well, I kind of commend people wanting to see it for themselves because they're not just drinking the Kool-Aid. So I do, seriously, I honor that. I've had several sightings. You know, I mean, Stephen Greer teaches you how to go call them in, and it's so easily done. I know, I'm pretty sure Ty calls them in as well. There's so many of us who can just call them in. So I've had sightings. I've had pretty close sightings. But for people who haven't, I kind of get that, but there's so much evidence out there. You know, there's so much raw footage, and there's organizations like Opus and MUFON. I mean, it can't all be made up, right?
Exactly. There's got to be some reality to something. Now, I just got an email from a friend of Alyson's. She is stuck in traffic due to a major highway accident. She was supposed to get somewhere with a good internet connection, and she has not done that. So where she is right now, she can't get in. That is terrible. Terrible for the people involved is what it is. Okay, so the question is, how do people awaken? Something bad has to happen, or something big has to happen, I think. We just let them stick in that third dimension, and we're here when they need us.
You know, that's another possibility. Yeah, you know, I have to say I'm really bummed about Alyson, because I didn't know she was your student, and her and I have communicated just a little bit, though, through Facebook, but I was so excited when I found out that she was going to be on the show, and I messaged her, and she was really excited about coming on. Yeah, she was. I talked to her quite a few times. I know, and she's like, "Oh, yeah, we got to do this. We got to talk about it." She doesn't want to sit behind a veil and be like, "Well, no, I don't want nobody to know who I am." She wants to get this out there and talk to people, let them know. My darling Shoki has a question about the energy shifts. Now, I'm going to tell you what I have found with this new energy shift, and this has basically been going on for the last 5-6 days. Basically, whenever I'm dowsing for somebody, there's a lot more in-depth answers that come up, a lot real in-depth answers that basically never come up for people as an option in my chart system. Now, what I found today, starting yesterday, I've been dowsing and finding black goo. Finally, I'm finding black goo, and I've always said, well, you know what, I don't ever find it, it's never there, and by the way, couldn't they call it something better than black goo? It's like, come on, black what? They can call it something prettier, anyways. So some people call it programmable black matter, etc. So I've been finding it and moving it out, but then this morning they said, no, not black goo. Listen to this, reptilian programmable sunlight. Oh.
Does that resonate?
That's
programmable sunlight.
Bizarre. And, you know, photons are totally programmable.
There you go.
That's what we do. We work with the luminous energy field, which is bringing light into the body. So
there's the nanotechnology, the photons.
Right. So now what?
Well, I've been led to this quite a few times in the last year or so, is something in the corona of the sun, spirits coming from the corona of the sun, different things with the sun has been coming up here and there, little bits. Now, I guess it was maybe 8-9 months ago, I was having me a meditation, which most people call a nap, and I felt in my third eye something flip 180 degrees. And I woke up and I said, pole flip. Something just flipped. And I dowsed and it was the sun. Okay, so the sun flipped. Okay, thanks, Ty. And so I thought, wow, okay, something's going on. And then there was a lot of reports from different people in this field, especially my mentor, Wayne, the toolmaker, said, yeah, the sun is now our real sun. It's not the fake sun. It's not the dark sun. It's the real sun. And the concept was the sun was yellow, now it's white or something like that.
Yes, yes.
As soon as I found programmable sunlight, I thought, there it is. It's all coming together now.
You know, that makes so much sense, but in my research, the sun is a portal.
Oh, it is, yes.
It's absolutely a portal.
And that's what opened for the rapture. The sun opened. The portal of the sun opened to get rid of all these son-of-a-gun reptilians and archons.
Wow, and it is happening. It is happening so fast. The mainstream just isn't hearing about it.
Well, they will. All of a sudden one day they're going to be like, where did so-and-so go? Where did this person go? Now, what I do find every day now is less and less and less reptilian stuff within my dowsing. There's less of it, much less of it. You still find it in pockets here and there, but I am seeing less and less and less of it. So all these dark gods of war, Set, Horus, Thoth, all these yahoos, they are leaving. They are basically gone. And what we're finding now, there's something called the Sith. The Sith are another name for the Archons. So if you identify it properly, there's a bigger chance that they're going to leave. So I've been calling them the Sith and moving them out, and it's happening. People feel the movement. It's a wonderful thing when it does leave. That's been huge. It's like all the veils have lifted. There's no veils left. Everything is out on the table, and it's up to us to go out and find it.
Right. And be proactive about it. And it's interesting because a lot of the healings I've been doing are based on the collective, which so we'll go into one problem and then it will ripple out into like a collective thing. So I think on the unseen world, we're about to make a big shift. Really we're finally going to make the shift. It's going to happen this year.
Oh, I remember when I first started doing this like 11, 12 years ago. Every morning I'm listening to the Galactic Federation of Light with Nigel, what's his name? And
yes.
And all these people. I'm like, okay, when is it going to happen? Tomorrow? Will it happen Friday? Oh, when's it going to? And it's like 13 years later. Finally, we're making some waves. But the thing is that nobody ever really knew. Certain things had to be in place and certain things had to happen. Basically, if you look at the ascension, it's a war going on upstairs, a war going on in what we call heaven. And all of these things had to change and shift and get moved out so that source can come in riding on its horse and say, now it's our turn. So basically, it's a big polarity change from dark forces being on top and the North Pole. Now it's the sources of love and light on the North Pole taking over. It is terminology of the universe. Everything is vibration, sound, polarity, those types of things. So it is indeed a big polarity flip that is going on.
Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing it on so many levels, and even just I've been feeling it. And it's hard to put into words, but it's like an expansion of vision, and it's the manifesting is into the good is happening so much quicker just in the last few days. It's almost instant. And that's where we want to be, yet be mindful of it so we're not pulled back into the darkness, because we play such a big part in it. We play such a huge role.
Incredibly big part. What I always find is that as soon as I find something new and start working with it for a day or two, it's almost gone. The universe says, okay, I see that. Let's take care of it. Let's get that out of there. Boom, it's gone. All the work that we're all doing, all us wonderful people in this world of working with love and vibration, we are making the changes, okay? It's a wonderful thing, and I think that the universe is doing a fantastic job of understanding where we want to be. Yeah, you have to think that there's so many people wanting to make change, putting out a request out there. How many different voices and different terminologies and different variations of the fact are being sent to them, and they have to try and weed it out?
Right.
I'm trying to envision how things are going on up there, as above, so below. Is there a group of guys going, okay, well, Saudi Arabia wants this, and North America wants that, and what do we do? Let's toss a coin in the air and see what happens. I mean, as above, so below, sure. Why not? There's a game of espionage being played upstairs with the reptilians, all these other species. Another big thing I find is that we can now put a stop to all of the extraterrestrial experiments and experimentation that are going on.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So we can just tell them to stop. All experiments and experimentation false. And then it opens another door, it opens another veil. And then if there is experimentation, we can offer that person restitution from source, a gift of restitution, which is going to make up for all this stuff going on.
So now, what do you think? I just read, I didn't even get to read it. Someone just shared it on my page, and I have not had a chance to read it yet. But it talks about all the cell phone towers being the same frequency, that they use for mind control. All the cell phone towers popping up everywhere. So, it seems like we're moving forward, but then I see this whole smart grid going up everywhere. What do you think about that?
You know what? I think there's a lot of fear in it. I have a smart meter in my house. Everything's fine in here. Okay. I think if people want to manifest fear out of it, they're going to manifest it. They're going to bring in that energy and cause it to happen. Whenever I work on somebody with cancer, one of the first things I do is I remove the word cancer from their subconscious, because their mind is in the background is always going to be saying, I have cancer, I have cancer, I have cancer. So if you take that out of the equation, that they're not going to think about it, they're not going to manifest it.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that the grids, the smart meters, the Gwen towers and all that are not causing a problem. I think that if we want it to cause a problem, it will.
Yeah, I agree. I've been a little bit caught up in that.
A lot of people ask me, how come I never get hit? How come I'm always okay moving out all these crazy big energies, 8 hours a day, 8 people a day, 5 days a week? How come I don't get hit like some people? And all I can contribute to is I have no fear. I don't fear it at all. It's like, I'm getting rid of you. Goodbye. That's it. I'm not worried that you're going to come get me. Otherwise, they will. We can manifest that.
Right on. Absolutely. That's exactly. I've been getting a ton of entity extractions lately, and that's what you do. You just approach it with no fear. But what's interesting is you and I work a little bit differently, but every time, so when I do it shamanically, when I remove the entity or the demon, whatever you want to call it, the parasite, there's always, like 9 out of 10 times, there is the black tentacle that I have to unwind from the spine or the liver or wherever it is. Would you say that that's the same as black goo?
I think the concept of black goo is some kind of consciousness. I still don't know everything about black goo. I mean, the theory is there. It's in consciousness. It's in a lot of movies. So it's maybe some kind of, I've seen lots of examples of ferrofluid, which is used in loudspeakers to cool them, a magnetic fluid. So ultimately, I'm still not 100% convinced about black goo. I think eventually we will learn. Alyson!
Hi. Hi. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
We can hear you just fine, dear. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, especially now since I'm here with you guys. I had some big interference there, so on the freeway, actually headed over to my friend's home, but I was able to make it to another safe destination point to be here with you, and Beautiful. I'm so grateful and happy to be here. Thank you very much.
What Holly and I were talking about is what happened with this moon phenomenon, and what you and I discovered about yourself, explaining that you're getting attacked since you're like 3 years old, and all kinds of bad stuff going on all the time. Why don't you start there and let everybody know what do you mean by attack?
Well, gosh, I mean, attacks come in so many different ways, right? I mean, there's energetic kinds of attacks, whether it's energetically attacking your body or your consciousness or going into one of your organs or your skin, or, I mean, even when you helped me out and you told me that they had put that reptilian skin disease in my brain. So, I mean, attacks come in so many different various shapes. I mean, even just interference in, being here with you today. I know that it was an interference sort of thing going on. So, but those kinds of things happen, and especially for folks that are really trying to lift up humanity and trying to make the world a better place. And I didn't realize that I kind of knew I was one of those people, but and now I really know because of our discovery together and with this amazing triple super moon going on right now, that I am a gatekeeper. I am an official gatekeeper to open the gate for the reptilians to leave and to be banished to Saturn, I believe, second dimension. And so I am extremely, extremely thrilled, Chris, that you shared that information with me, because it now has given me so much insight as to why I have been so entrenched in the attacks in the past. And that I'm coming out of everything now. And I feel just everything just seems so much more opened up. My awareness, the sky, the way the light shines into the beautiful trees, just everything is opening up. This is going to be a tremendous alignment, 3 triple moon alignment for all of humanity. And I feel so happy and grateful that I really was a trooper, and I didn't realize, why in the hell am I getting all these attacks and they're following me and blah blah blah, all these things happening throughout my life. Now I know, now I know you helped me with it, and I'm so thankful and grateful to be a true quantum healer. I'm extremely grateful that you created the healing technology format, and it's really terrific because it's really based on individual interpretation on people's dowsing techniques, and how true you are able to get with your answers for your dowsing for the commands. And it is all based on name identification. So if you can identify it right there on the head, boy, you jumping out that dark interference right away, no matter whatever it is, that thing just has to leave, and it does. That's what's so cool about true quantum healing and the tools, the beautiful tools. I love working even with my triple pyramid while I'm in the car, because depending on traffic, I know when I used to live in Los Angeles, there's so much traffic left and right. And, everywhere you go, there's a car at every single intersection. And why not kind of open it up? I mean, if you have the know-how and the knowledge and the right tools. So I'm speaking through my triple pyramid. I'm like, green light, go, true. You are true and perfect now. Green light, go. And sometimes I even say, evacuate. And I know I probably shouldn't do that, but and it's interesting to see the drivers ahead of me and how they react when I say these things, because I guess they do feel it. And I mean, I don't want to be intrusive, but sometimes we do kind of want, I guess, magical powers or magical abilities that are true. I always drive with my triple pyramid. It really works for me. So I love it.
You and I have been working quite a while trying to figure this out, these attacks and all this stuff going on. So when we did find the gatekeeper thing, it was only, say, a few days before the gates opened. Now, the gates opened, I think it was a day and a half, almost 2 days ago. Very easy for us to fancifully say, oh, you're the gatekeeper, you wear the cross of gold and blah, blah, blah. Me being Mr. Proof in the pudding, when those gates opened, what did you notice about yourself? What did you feel?
Well, that's a really good question. Initially, actually, when, because I've lately, the Sith Archons have been kind of getting on me. And so before the gates being open, they were still almost like pouring into me everywhere. But I did notice when the gates opened up, I could feel them pouring out of me. And I just knew right away that the gates opened up. And I felt a lightness everywhere that I was, and, lightness in the air and the light. And yeah, I mean, the gates are definitely open. I feel a shift, I feel a shift in not only my consciousness, but a shift in the world right now with the gates being opened. And they are opened. And I don't know how long it actually takes for all the reptilians to travel into that dimension. I would think it would be pretty fast, but I'm sure there's an awful lot of reptilians, so maybe it takes them a little while, or maybe, maybe they are all supposed to be in that particular new placement for our humanity's triple moon alignment for our own ascension, to take place, perhaps.
Well, that's interesting because Chris, I've been really having a rough last few months, but Alyson just hit it on the head about a day and a half ago, 2 days ago. Like I said earlier, there was just such a shift. It went from just so much struggle on every single level, energetically, spiritually. I just felt like I was getting hammered on all sides. And then even just with different aspects of my life, and almost like interdimensionally, even in my dream state. And then it's like something just shifted, and it's like a flood of all the negativity just washed away. And it was literally in the last day and a half, 2 days.
Yay.
So Alyson, you totally summed that up. And then someone else, I guess the sun just entered Jupiter, which is a huge time for a new beginning. So I think that's significant too. I'm not totally into astrology. I'm not up on it as I should be, but supposedly the sun moving into Jupiter is a huge time for, quote, prosperity and newness, but isn't prosperity, couldn't that be labeled as ascension? We're being prosperous in our spiritual growth. There's a prosperity of light coming in.
Yeah.
One of the messages that I've been getting, and when I'm dowsing, all of a sudden Source breaks in and gives me some kind of message, and it's that everybody who's doing this type of work, look out, you're going to benefit. Okay.
Yay.
People are going to say, okay, I need to do this. Talking with my good friend Hayden last night, and we're talking about what's it going to take for people to awaken a little bit. And I came up with a scenario that people with extreme health problems are searching for an answer. They go on the internet and boom, there it is. And then there's an awakening. So I think more people are going to be searching for answers to those questions that nobody's giving them. I think that's the way it's going to happen.
Makes sense to me. Makes a lot of sense to me. It seems like it's definitely, it's a real shift. It's a big shift in consciousness right now. People are being awakened, and a lot of it is with the frequencies of Mother Earth and Gaia and these awesome alignments. Thank goodness. Thanks.
The alignments definitely have to happen. That's what I gauge different things going on is by certain alignments. And, I'm like Holly. I don't pay much attention. I haven't got time to pay attention to astrology. I got myself a telescope to look at the moon. I just don't see if there's any UFOs coming on. I take it to the trailer and I have a few vodkas. And I go look and there's a UFO. Come look at it. Ultimately, yes, the alignments, I account the alignments as, let's say, a key gets turned so that a door can open. That's when alignment happens. More alignments are happening. If you look at how many supermoons there's going to be, I think how many eclipses this year, it's going to be more than ever kind of thing. So it's definitely escalating. It's escalating so much.
And it just really seems like it's really happening for our benefit, for humanity's benefit. I mean, we are ascending. I mean, and that's another thing that I really love, Chris, about your frame of mind and your work and how you speak about it. Your whole approach is with a positive viewpoint. And I really think that's what we need to keep in mind. Even your beautiful quote about, what humanity may be afraid of is, that we're not good enough, but we are all powerful. We are all powerful. And we have to remind ourselves that, especially with any type of negativity that may be encroaching upon us, we need to stand up straight and tall and not back down and keep moving forward.
No fear here.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, when my little boy, he's 6 years old, and he hears a train in the distance, he gets scared that it's a monster. And I walk into his room, I says, Joshua, what do we always say? He says, no fear here. I says, that's right, no fear here. Nothing's going to get you. Number one, Daddy's in this house. He's not going to anything happen. And you have nothing to fear. No matter what it is, there's nothing to fear.
Well, it's taken me a long time to realize all that myself, so...
We are all powerful. Our thoughts is that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're all powerful. Don't fear being powerful. Don't fear your intent. Don't fear what is possible, okay? With the things that are going on between me, Holly, yourself, Ty, Shauki, everybody involved with doing energy work, there is people that are getting healed. There are people that their lives are getting changed. All of a sudden one day, hey, I'm not depressed anymore. I'm not going to off the Golden Gate Bridge tomorrow. This is a good thing.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
How did that happen? That happened because we intended through this person to remove their fear, to remove their anxiety, and realize that there is nothing to fear.
Yeah.
I just worked on this woman, and she was having this crazy amount of paranormal activity. Like, she had just bought this new TV, and she was watching the TV, and the screen shattered. Just crazy. And this entity, ghost, spirit, whatever, was throwing things off of her shelf. To make it worse, when she had friends over, and the healings are going so fast. So I worked with her, and she had no paranormal activity that night. It went from literally breaking the TV, throwing stuff off the shelf, to just allowing that consciousness to be moved and let go of, to no paranormal activity since. And so I feel like the light workers, or however you want to label it, the people with the intentions are, like with what you're doing, Chris, and what you're doing, Alyson, it's amplified. It's just amplified exponentially in the past few weeks, maybe.
Oh, it has. And you can tell. When you're doing the work, when you're sending the intent, you can feel that it's stronger. You can feel that it's more, yes, that's what it is. It's more exact. That heart center is open, and the energy is flowing, and that person is going to get a really good result after the session.
And you know what? I just had a good friend of mine in California. Her husband started seeing black shadows in the house, so they called someone in to clear the black shadows, and it wasn't successful. So I was talking to her on the phone, and it's like, oh, I know you probably don't have money to pay for a re-clearing, or why would you? I used your method, Chris. 30 seconds, I just doused 30 seconds, black shadows false, like the intention. She texts me the next day, they are gone.
The incredible results you get with just using the words true and false in an intent. Next to the word love, got to be the strongest words in the universe. It's either true or it's false. It's either here or not here. I was talking with Wayne one day, and before I was using true and false, and he said, just say the words sells true. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And then I thought, hey, what if we also use the words false? Friend of mine, Ryan Stallman, who made some devices for me, he sent me a list of what this device contains, and it said this particle true, these particles false. I'm like, there it is right there, true and false. That's what we need to do. And now it is a thing. It's a thing.
It is a thing. And it's like the universe responds. It totally listens and responds and obeys. It really does. It's great.
Well, when you do it right now, I'm remembering back to the 1960s on a black and white version of Star Trek. And Captain Kirk and Spock were talking with another species, and this species talked in metaphors. Okay, they're trying to understand what this thing is saying, but it was all in metaphors. And that's kind of what the universe does. So if you can fine-tune the right language and the right responses and the right time to say things, that's when things activate.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I'd love to get as fast as you are, Chris, with your finger dowsing. I'm excited to do it. Practice skill. But as you work with it and you're interested in it, your consciousness, it's almost like true source starts to guide you and starts to work with you and starts to communicate to you. I mean, remember I shared with you, Chris, I was so excited while I was sleeping. Believe it or not, I mean, true source came to me. It was this light, very joyful energy, and it was actually showing a recent session that we had. I believe it was that day or that morning, and it showed me our session together that I had with you, and it was basically communicating to me telepathically, saying, "I'm here for you. I want to work with you. If you have a desire to be really good at this, I am here for you." And it was really just made me feel amazing. So, and I know when I shared it with you, you said you're getting goosebumps.
Wow. Yeah, confirmation.
Cool.
I just got a chill from that.
Oh, yay!
I just got chill.
Shoki was asking about military bases. Do you feel that's a distraction, or do you feel that there's actual military bases having an effect on us at the subconscious, maybe the etheric level?
I think so. I think it's subconscious. Subconscious, probably. I have to agree. I have to agree with Alyson on that. But then, are we creating that?
Are we manifesting it?
Are we manifesting?
There's a hype, because there's a lot of people that are ex-military, Secret Service, who are coming forward. Daniel Bolin III, Patty, what's her name, Patty, whatever, are coming forward saying, yes, we're ex-military and this is happening.
Patty Bouchard.
Patty Bouchard. Yeah, we have ET in the bunkers and we're working with them and all kinds of stuff going on, this, that, the other thing. Do you think that's creating hysteria?
I think it depends on the person if it's creating hysteria. Like when I hear stuff like that, it perks my curiosity and I want to know, but I don't fear it. But a lot of there are some that do fear this type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I think it depends on how the information is delivered. I'm with Holly on that. It piques my interest as well. I've always had a huge quest for knowledge and truth, always had a big thirst for knowledge. So I always want to know the ins and outs about everything, but I want to stay on the, light side of humanity, of course. But yeah.
What I see a lot of is the planet Saturn. Planet Saturn used to be our sun gazillion years ago. It is now the reptilians' base in our solar system. So there is a war being fought on that planet, and a lot of people in their causal capacity or one of their astrals or something like that is on that planet fighting the war. So I think on a military standpoint, it is in an etheric rather than here on Earth. I don't think the military, they certainly may be. I'm not dismissing it at all. You look at what happened in Cuba with this American diplomats there. They shot some kind of energy sound weapon at them and gave them brain damage. And that's in the news.
Yeah.
Well, right. And I think that's definitely a military weapon. Supposedly, they used that same sonic weapon at the Dakota pipeline when all the protesters used the same sound weapon. So I don't like to be a fear monger, but sometimes it's entertaining. And so I wonder sometimes if the Gwen towers are just going to shoot out that frequency on us.
You got HARP, you got Gwen towers, cell phone towers, all these different things, Hadron Collider. I mean, there's just so much there. LCD screens, smartphones, smart TVs, they can watch you and you don't even know it. All this stuff going on, it can really freak somebody out. I don't know, it's like, how much do we have to take into it? How much do we have to worry about it? I mean, people talk about Facebook, how bad it is. It's a portal and stuff. Well, possibly, yes. Sitting here talking to you guys right now, I bet there's a bunch of reptilians sitting around smoking a cigar going, listen to those stupid humans talking. They don't know what they're talking. I mean, you could really get involved with this stuff at a certain level that it'll start to drive you and make you think that way. So what I do, here's how I deal with that. Whatever is brought towards me on my charts with my dowsing system, that's what I work with. So many people ask me, have you heard of this system? Have you heard of that? And I go, no, I've heard of Chris Kehler's system. That's what that's all I talk and listen to. I go out certain ways. I mean, talking with Ty and talking with anybody else who has information regarding this system, I will listen to that. But as far as Bracco, the gazer, I don't want to look at Bracco's face. Who knows what's going on in there?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's so many, so many tricksters. There's so many different types of information out there with a lot of actually really good and sweet people that are possibly being misled, and they don't realize it. In a lot of different healing capacities, certain channeling kinds of things, like that you mentioned that fellow with his eyes and looking and everything. I mean, and some of these folks have a dark agenda. Some of them don't. Yeah. Some of them are just being led. But, now that I found true quantum healing, it's so clean. It's clean. Yeah. It's clear with the tools. I mean, this particular, field of energy that we live in, this world, responds very well to the tools, sacred geometry, and it's completely clean. And so you don't need a guide. You don't need these extra things, and you don't want them.
I was using this group called the Round Table for a while, but I found out, hey, you know what? Something wrong with you guys because you're chastising me. It's like, that can't happen. Get out of here. You're gone. And I'm just working straight with Source now. It's like, I don't need any. If anybody says they need help with guides, I mean, get past that. Go ahead and use them, but try and get past it. Don't bother working with guides. Hey, Holly, how many people do you ever rescue from taking ayahuasca?
Literally rescue. Like, people ask me all the time, do you do ayahuasca? And it's like, no, the shamanic journey I've never done it, so I can't compare, but I think the shamanic journey can get you into that same place. And I think ayahuasca is very sacred in the hands of the right tribes.
Yes.
But right now, I think it's just become a trend. It's like vaping. Everybody's doing ayahuasca. You might as well vape. Well, and I hate to say that. It's such a sacred thing. And I think it's been totally tarnished. Like, I used to be really interested in doing it. I have no interest now.
There's a place in Peru that actually advertises to go for an ayahuasca ceremony. And now there are people who are like, don't go there because you're going to leave without a soul. It's so bad. I do have a client who went there for a while and did some journeys and came back, like, who am I? What am I? Oh, my goodness, what happened? Bad things can happen with good intent,
Well, Alyson nailed it again with the true quantum healing, and that is not my modality. I just try to pick up what you've taught me on the sidelines. It's clean. It is clean. And I've rescued more people from guides, using their guides or going to psychics or having crappy tarot readings, and they go to a psychic or they go get a tarot reading, and nothing against the readers, because I know there's, like, Michaela Sheldon is phenomenal reader. She's so pure. But there's a lot of other people out there who are maybe not as clear as they should be, so all their readings are going right through their traumas being projected onto that person. That's my biggest thing. When I work with a client, they do their own journey. I don't do that. I don't read them or anything. But it's amazing how many people have come to me because of dirty healings or dirty guides.
How come I feel like somebody's having sex with me after I do a session with them? It's like, okay, well, you're working with the wrong person.
No,
I'm sure we could probably talk for an hour or so. That's about all the time we got for tonight. Alyson, thank you so much for being on. What's your website?
SacredHeartAscension.com. Thank you.
Access Holly, she's wonderful. Alyson, you're coming up, my dear. You are going to rock at this. I know it.
Oh yes, I am. I'm building my website now. I talked to your webman, and I'm on it. I'm gonna be as good as you are, man. I'm gonna rock it. Yep.
We're gonna be here. Anyways, that's it you got for tonight. I am Chris Kehler. We are out of here.